So welcome everyone to our first class fall 2022. This is a 7-week series. We've been doing a lot of 3, 4, 5-week series over the last couple of years, basically. So in looking at the fall, and what I intended to do was to set up a series of programs, because I haven't done the introduction to meditation material. We've been doing all the specialized material and having a lot of fun with it. I've been having a lot of fun with it, doing research and preparing special classes. So it was a lot of fun, but realizing that we hadn't really dealt with the nuts and bolts of the MTT program and meditation specifically. So rather than calling it Introduction to Meditation and Healing Meditations and Healing Through the Chakras, which are the courses that I normally run in the fall and have for years, and mainly because I'm not having beginners join us, it's a lot of you seasoned meditators, you're longtime meditators coming back for more, decided to reformat things a little bit. So rather than having the short courses, a couple of long ones, with the option of taking them all, which most of you have opted for. And so the intention is a refresher, but also bringing in some new material, teaching it as if I was teaching beginners, but knowing that you're not. We're going to go a little bit off the script every once in a while to go a little more deeply into the practices. And the idea is a lot of you are not just developing your own home practice, you are teaching. You're teaching others. So I want to go through that material. When we did the MTT review, we looked at the course as an overview, for those of you who took it. But now let's get down to the meditations, the practices that I haven't taught in a long time, at least to you. I teach others, but let's get into the meditations themselves. So rather than guiding through everything, which I would do in a beginning class, I want to leave a little bit of room for us to go a little more deeply into the practices. So rather than in a beginning class, there wouldn't be too much time spent doing silent group meditation, but we'll spend a little bit more time doing that in our group, so we get that material going. Now, as we before we get started here, I just need to make a bit of an announcement that I don't think anyone here online knows, but a couple of people who will be watching the recording later may know, is that last week, while I was on holidays, but it was a staycation, doing day trips, and we decided not to go overnight Monday night into Tuesday. We're going to go out of town. My mother had a fall. She's 96 years old, and her blood pressure fell drastically. She fainted and she cracked 12 ribs. Oh. So middle of the night, I was rushing across Toronto, breaking a few speed records, I'm sure, in my Rogue. Getting to the hospital, I spent 10 hours with her in ER. Then my aunt took over. We weren't sure what was going to happen because her heart rate was all over the place. And eventually a heart doctor came in, and emergency pacemaker implant for the next day. So that was done, and they couldn't give her any painkillers. So she was in a lot of pain for that while because of her heart. But eventually she did get the painkillers. The good news is she's getting better. We thought this was going to be it. And even with the implant, we were told that there's a risk of her body being 96 years old and in shock because of the cracked ribs, might not survive even as something as simple as an implant. But she survived. we're made of tough stock here, tough pioneering stock. And she's getting better and better, and it's just become somewhat official. The applications are in place for her to be moved out of the cardiac wing of the hospital, to short-term, long-term rehabilitation, because she hasn't been able to get up for the last week. So having said all that, I've been still going back and forth across Toronto. She's at Scarborough Health Network, it's called now. It used to be Scarborough General Hospital. And there's still that uncertainty, that concern that her body just might not want to go on. So, and of course, my schedule started up this week fully. So I've been exhausted. But the thing is, we're going to continue on. I go see her tomorrow. As many of you know, there's a silent retreat on Sunday, and that's a go. But going forward in the upcoming classes, there may be a class where I say I can't do a live class, and I will do a recorded class in place, and I let everyone know. I have never had to do that before, but just in case my presence needs to be elsewhere, and I don't have any determination about when that can be. If that happens, we're keeping our fingers crossed. A lot of people praying for her. She believes in prayer, and we're all kind of surprised. And the doctors are kind of surprised too, just how well she is bouncing back. So often people of that age, when they have a fall like that, that's the beginning of the end. But this doesn't seem to be the case for her at this point. So we're very hopeful that everything will proceed. But of course, it's happening. It never happens when you have perfect time. It happens when everything else is busy. So we're very busy. So just I'm letting you know, just in case I send a note, you understand that, okay, we can't do a live class. We'll either do a makeup, or there'll be a special recording in place of it. So anyway, there we have it. What we're going to do here is relearn for a lot of you meditations that you've learned before. Now, for some of you, you've done the MTT training, and it's all been live or online, and you haven't been in classes. So what I'm trying to do here is set up a bit of a class format with the basic class material that I would use for beginners, so we can practice as a refresher to get more familiar with these techniques, and hopefully perhaps go a little more deeply into them, with the idea that you're going to fortify the foundation of your own personal practice, which is the idea of this course, but also be better prepared for those of you who are going to go out and teach, whether it's in person or online. So getting refamiliarized with the material. And that's the 7-week course. And the next 7-week course is really a continuation. I've set it up as a standalone class, and I'll try to format it so that it can be standalone for those who are going to join. But it's really 14 weeks of meditation sampler material that I've shared over the last while, plus adding in some new material that I'm aware of now and didn't teach in the earlier classes. So that's what we're going to be doing here. Even though I'm not teaching beginners, those of you who have been in the beginning classes know that I'm teaching to the lowest common denominator. Like, I'm teaching to the one that knows the least, and we're all learning the language that can be used in teaching those folks. And the questions that come from beginners, this is part of our learning, and how I respond, then you have to think, how would you respond? And perhaps sometimes we've had, various people responding to a particular question, which has always been helpful. But I don't have the beginners here, but I am going to be trying to teach the material at a beginner's level, knowing full well that you're not beginners. And as I mentioned earlier, we'll go a little bit off the script and go a little more deeply into some of the stuff. That's where we're going. Now, because of some of the personal stuff, the time element over the last week and being involved away from home, I haven't set up the module as fully as I would have normally. So when you go in there, you don't see the topics for the week. So they're going to be a surprise. I set up today's. There's a lot of extras in today's, a lot of stuff in there to keep you busy. As I find time, I'll be filling up the other modules with the material that we'll be covering and working and setting up the handouts, et cetera, et cetera. Any questions on that? Okay, so thank you everyone for joining the program, and say hello to everyone who is watching the recording. And what we're going to do now is some practice. So this is the whole idea, is settle down to some practice. I won't be doing very much in the way of PowerPoint presentation, which I've been getting better at over the last months. This is, you're going to be looking at me, and we're going to be working together, and we're going to be doing practices together and discussing them. I want this to be interactive, not just me teaching at you. We're learning these things together. And if you've had some experience with some of these techniques before, what's your experience now after so many months or years of practice? And perhaps you haven't done this a particular technique for a while. And let's break some of them down to see where we can go with them. Okay, so I'm ready to start with the first practice. Everyone good? All right. So one of the things, in some of the previous sessions that some of you have been involved in, I have shared meditation tips, and meditation tips are in the membership section of my NamaStream program. Yes, Joe, I still call it NamaStream. They rebranded themselves as Hey Marvelous, but I don't resonate with that. It's NamaStream. Nothing wrong with Hey Marvelous, just it's not me. So I'll be sharing a lot of these tips with you, and there are tips that are in today's lesson section, so we may get to those today, but if not, we'll touch on them later on. My goal is to have a little booklet set up that'll have 108 meditation tips. I've got 75 or more written up already, and so I'll be sharing those with you, and then I'll have to add some more. I kind of know where I'm going. I just need the time to fill them in. And one of the things that comes up in these tips is the following. When we're wanting to sit down to meditate, one of the challenges that we have is our energy system is restless because we've been busy. Maybe we're busy but calm, but we're interactive with the outside world, and we're busy doing what we're doing, whether it's driving, talking, working, playing. Doesn't really, it's an outside awareness. And we need to bring our awareness inside, and we need to calm down some of the energy stresses, energy constrictions that are going on in our energy ecosystem, the energy system that we're living in. And this is where yogis out of India do breathing practices. So we're going to be learning a number of breathing practices or refresher and breathing practices. And we're going to do one together today, at least 3 variations of the breath. And the lesson section has a video that I did a couple of years ago, just so you can just watch and get refreshed on the practice just by itself. But also I've included a video that I did recently for the Yoga Center of California. I was asked to sub for one of the teachers down there, and I did a half-hour class on breathing practices, some of my favorite techniques. So that video, the video of that class is in the lesson section, which includes the technique we're about to do. So in teaching beginners, this is how I present this, is that we need to relax our mind and we need to recharge our energy system. And it allows us to oxygenate our blood and our brain cells, and it helps us to interiorize a little bit. So there are several breathing practices that we'll do in this program. There are actually hundreds of variations of different types of breathing practices that are out there. We're not going to cover them all, but we're going to we'll cover quite a few. So this particular practice is a very simple one and ideal for a beginner's class. And I just call it the Ha breath. There are other names for it, but basically we're breathing in completely with our nostrils, and then we're breathing out the mouth, constricting the throat and making the sound. Hopefully the mic picked it up. Sometimes when you're making weird sounds, the microphone does some funny things. And we just exhale all our breath. And we do 6 of these for today. And then we'll do 6 more with an arm movement, and then we'll do 6 more with a different arm movement. And there are multiple variations of these. I learned this practice at the Yoga Center of California, and there's all kinds of variations you can do lying down as well as standing. And a lot of them have recharging benefits to our ecosystem. Okay, so just getting comfortable, sitting tall. And we work at our own rhythm. So after the 6, I'll pause. And some of us prefer doing this practice a little bit more slowly. When you practice this, you might realize maybe you want to pause a breath or 2 between each. And so that takes a little bit longer. But we'll do 6 in sequence. So inhaling deeply. Exhaling out the mouth, constricting the throat, making the sound. You're ready, inhale again, and we do 5 more. And when you're finished your 6, just breathe normally, sitting in stillness with awareness. The sound that we make, the sound, has a calming effect on our nervous system, as well as we're breathing in fresh oxygen, getting rid of carbon dioxide. We're breathing in fresh life force energy, prana. In Chinese medicine is called qi, some Tai Chi, Qi Kong, but Sanskrit prana. We're breathing in this extra life force energy. So the next variation involves moving the arms. The arms, will raise the arms up horizontally, big hands in front of the camera. So that horizontal raising of the arms with the in-breath, we lower the arms down with the breath, timing the lowering with the breath so that the palms are resting lightly on the lap or the knees at the end of the out-breath. And we do 6 of these. The heart is our feeling center. Hands is where we have touch. So feeling and touch go hand in hand. Aha, little pun. The arms are an extension of this part of our body. And when we're doing this, the arms are operating like bellows, helping to flush out any heavy energy that we might feel in our heart center. Helps open up our heart. Any breathing practice helps to open up our heart, helps to clear heavy emotions. But this particular arm movement goes a long way in helping to flush out any heavy energy that's in our heart. So we do 6 of these. Sitting tall, inhaling. Just breathe normally when you're finished. As you practice this on your own, again, you might feel more comfortable going at a slower pace. So just listen to yourself, listen to your body. And you might find that your center of awareness has dropped down to your chest area. We're getting out of the frenetic mind, the busy mind. The last sequence that we'll do is with an arm movement again, best done standing, but if I stand, you're just going to be looking at my belly, my COVID belly. So we're doing it sitting. And what's going to happen is with the in-breath, okay, we start with Anjali Mudra, our Western prayer position. And then as we breathe in, we swing the arms out to the side, over the head, and over the head, we bring the palms together. That's all with the in-breath. And then with the out breath, we lower the arms, coming to rest in front of the chest. That's one round, and we do 6 rounds altogether. This particular mudra means a seal, we're sealing a flow of energy, further helps to connect the flow of energy with the energy in the palms of the hands back along the arms into the heart. So let's do 6 of these. And afterwards, when you're sitting in stillness with awareness, you might feel that your awareness is expanding out beyond the boundaries of your body. You just start to feel wider, bigger. And then this is a nice time to go into meditation. So actually, we're going to be doing a meditation shortly, but I'll be chatting a little bit in between. So those are 3 variations, you might say, the basic plus 2 variations. And there are other ways of practicing too. And what I remember in some of the classes that I've been down in California, so you lie on your back, and with the in-breath, you raise your right arm and your right leg. And then with the out-breath, you lower the right arm, the right leg. You're lying on your back, so you're lying straight. And then next breath, you do the right arm and the right leg. You go as high as you can, just to your comfort level, and you come down with the out breath. And then you would, for the third round, you would raise both arms and both legs to the best of your ability and come down. It really helps to balance the flow of energy, recharge the whole energy system through the whole body. And you can do, 2 or 3 rounds of those. Another variation, which we can't really do on camera, is that you'd sit on your heels. Heels are a little bit apart, so you're sitting on your knees, so to speak. And you would breathe in with the normal in-breath. Then as you do the breath, you would slowly slide forward until, and you're still sort of sitting on your heels, but you would slide forward until you're resting on the floor in what we call in California the child pose. You're just lying forward. Then you breathe in, you come back up again, and you slide forward. And it has a wonderful effect on just sending energy, balanced energy, up and down through the body. But we're practicing in a chair, so we can't do that. Although sometimes in the classes, I've either demonstrated this or I've volunteered someone who has more flexibility than I do to demonstrate for us. So these are great practices to do. So it becomes like a bit of a yoga routine as well with the breathing. So Rhea, I haven't said hello, Regina. You remember those practices from your yoga center classes?
Yes, I do, Vidas. Yes.
Yes. Little refresher. Okay. Any questions on that particular routine?
Tony, I have a question.
Sure,
I'll be
yes.
the newbie. I'll be your newbie
Oh,
and
okay,
ask
all right,
you
good.
questions. So it was really interesting because I did the first part, and then when we did the arms, after we did the arms, I did feel this kind of energy in my chest. And then you said, oh, you're going to feel this energy in your chest because things are. Can you talk about that a little bit more? Explain what was happening with that?
Well, I don't know exactly what was happening with you, what was being stirred up, so to speak, but we're all energy. It's all energy. We kind of say our pre-yogic life might say we think we're pretty solid in our body, and a lot of people, live in their solid body, and there's no spirituality in their life. There's no energy in their life. And when we start to feel that, we're starting to bring in more life force energy, and we're starting to clear and cleanse, so that lightness that you feel on the chest, it's not just it can be, I'm breathing in fresh oxygen. This is good. What do we do if we're in the city all the time? We go out in the country. The first thing we do, we start taking some deep breaths. Automatically, our body just craves fresh air. And when we're doing this, there's just a stirring up. I'll go back to that term. There's a flushing out. We feel a lightness of being here. And this can help us, because we've done meditations where we tap into our feeling of happiness. And sometimes if you're not feeling happy, it's hard to find that feeling of happiness. So breathing practices kind of help us tap into that. And that feeling good feeling, although might not be tied to a particular emotion, but there's a lightness and a freshness. And we have a lot of people, a lot of us have a lot of things locked up here. So when we do yoga, we're stretching, we're moving around different directions, we're doing our breathing, we're helping to loosen things up. And the idea is we want to loosen it and allow it to ventilate. Now, sometimes when you're doing these practices, you can feel a little lightheaded, just not used to having, your body's not used to this much prana, but it gets easier with time. And if you're doing the sequence and 6 is too much, you can go back, maybe do three of each. And then after a week or so, add another one, do 4, 5, 6. And you can even increase a little bit. I would probably say 9 would be the comfort level, not to overdo it. You don't want to charge yourself up too much. You might explode. Okay. We're going to do a guided meditation now. It's a guided relaxation. And those of you who have been in classes with me know that I teach meditation from a very traditional standpoint, where we sit up to practice. And a lot of times, students have said, can I lie down to do a practice? As well, no, really, meditation is about, sitting up. Like I'm reading the lives right now of all the direct disciples of Ramakrishna, and there are some of them that just their main meditations were done lying down. So there goes that theory, that promotion that I'm putting out. But they did a lot of meditation actually sitting up too. So most of our practices are done sitting up, and the theory behind that is there's an eventual rising up of energy that occurs when we're sitting up, the Kundalini and the awakening of our awareness and the lightness of being. So the rising up of energy, and it's almost like anti-gravity. Gravity is holding us down on this planet, and there's a spiritual gravity called Maya that's kind of pushing us down as well. And meditation starts to reverse that process. And that's why when we do the breathing practices and meditations, we start to feel very, very light. And so there's a reversing. We don't feel heavy anymore. Not that we float, although there are stories that people have levitated, but I've never seen anyone do it, and I've never done it as far as I know. But we can get so light in our practice that it feels like we're levitating. But occasionally I teach a practice where I say this one can be done lying down as a shavasana or deep relaxation practice. And those of you who have been in classes where I've introduced this next meditation, guided relaxation, most of you opt to lie down. Oh, good. Tony is giving us permission to lie down. I'm going to lie down. The risk in lying down is falling asleep. But the classes are generally in the evening. People have had a long day, maybe a long week if it's a later in the week class, and there is a tendency to fall asleep. That's why sitting up is best. But I guess most of us will be doing this one sitting up. But if you are at home, you are at home. But if you have the opportunity to lie down, you want to try this lying down, this is one of those few opportunities where you get that permission from me. I don't know what you're doing off camera, but this one is good for lying down. And it's called the body of light meditation, the body of light meditation. Now, I went through several years where I didn't teach it at all. It's like I sort of forgot about it, you might say, with new practices that I had been teaching. But then I started reintroducing it, and I've done, say, 8-week class series at Wellspring, with a variety of meditation practices and relaxation practices, and this is the one that the most people have said that they've liked the best. And it has, there's just something about it. It's on my first CD. There is the audio recording, the studio recording is in the lesson section. There is an audio recording of a live version that's in the lesson section. And the transcript is there as well from the studio version, which you can adapt. And those of you who have been in the MTT program for the last few years, this is one that I had everyone do as a recording and invited people to personalize it. So this is where I'll be familiar, but I'm going to use my script. And it's basically, for those of you who are unfamiliar with it, we're going to visualize ourselves surrounded by a soft luminous mist. We're going to invite this mist to enter into our being and move down through the body, from our head down through our body. We'll do a visualization. We're sitting on a beach, and I'll guide you through that. Then we'll move the energy back through our body. And there's a little visualization involving light that we do at the conclusion. And this is a great practice just for harmonizing your whole being. Bringing light. Light is very often a metaphor, like there's enlightenment, illumination. Light is towards brightness and openness. So light is very often symbolizes spiritual energy. So we're moving spiritual energy through our body. It just helps harmonize our body, our mind with our emotions. So This is something I personalized, over 20 years ago, based on a variety of sources, and it, it done very well. Get a lot of hits on YouTube. So it's on YouTube too, but you actually, in the lesson section, you get the same recording that's on YouTube, which is my voice from 23 years ago. When you're listening to that recording, that's my voice from my younger days. You might say before I developed more of my teaching voice, whatever that is. But someone said I didn't sound the same. I says, well, I wasn't the same. I was younger. I wasn't as experienced. And I was nervous in the studio in front of a microphone. So there you have it. You all know that. Those of you who've been in the MTT and you're doing the recordings for me, you know exactly what I'm talking about. You get nervous in front of the microphone. Right, Lynn? Trying to encourage her, Lynn, to do her next recording for me. All right, so let's relax, and I'll be guiding you through this process. So don't try to get ahead of me. Just go through the pacing of it. Just allow the energy that you're visualizing the energy moving through your body, and just allow it to do its thing. All right. So normally we would have taken a few deep breaths or just completed the breath without the interlude, and we're ready to go right into meditation. So let's close our eyes and imagine or visualize, if we can, imagine or pretend that our body is surrounded by a soft, luminous mist. The soft, luminous mist feels very peaceful, feels very comforting, feels very healing. We're going to invite this mist, this luminous mist, to enter into our body. To begin with, it's going to billow as a cloud would across all of our facial muscles, relaxing all of our facial muscles, working into the head, the brain cells, and into our thoughts. And perhaps we feel a calming of our thoughts right away. This mist begins to move down into our neck and our throat, relaxing all the muscles in the neck and the throat, our vocal cords. Moving down into our shoulders and relaxing the shoulders. Down both arms, and try to have a balanced awareness as the mist moves down both arms, so you're feeling the same on both sides. As the mist moves down to the elbows, down to the wrists, into your hands, into your fingers. Have a balanced awareness in both arms. This peaceful, luminous mist now enters into our chest, into our heart, into our lungs, and into our emotional heart. And our emotional heart feels light, airy. This peaceful, luminous mist moves into our upper abdomen and into all the internal organs, moving down into the lower abdomen and into all the internal organs. And it settles into our pelvic region, into our sitting bones. The mist now wraps around to our back, entering into our upper back, moving down the back and the spine to the middle of the back, relaxing all the muscles in the back, moving down into the lower back, and again into our pelvic region. This mist now moves down both legs, and have a balanced awareness as the mist moves down the legs into the knees, moving down to the ankles, into the feet, and into all the toes. The whole body filled with this peaceful, luminous, healing mist. Now, let's imagine for a few moments that we're sitting on a sandy beach in a warm place. We look out with our mind's eye and we see a wide, calm lake. The wide, calm lake stretches all the way out to the horizon, where it meets the wide blue sky. Take in this vastness with your mind. Take in this vastness with your heart. Wide, calm lake, wide blue sky, meeting at the horizon. This luminous mist that's within you and around you begins to billow out across the surface of the sandy beach in front of you. And in our mind's eye, we see this mist billowing out across the sandy beach and out across the calm surface of the water, moving out in all directions across the water, all the way out to the horizon, touching the wide blue sky. The water is so calm, it's hard to tell where the mist ends and where the reflection in the water begins. The water is so calm, it's hard to tell where the mist ends and where the reflection in the water begins. Take all this in with your mind. Take all this in with your heart. Now begin to draw this mist back. Just invite this mist back across the calm surface of the water, coming back to the beach where you're sitting. And we draw this mist back to where we're sitting, into our body. And will once again invite this mist to enter into our body, but this time entering into our toes one at a time, deeply relaxing each of the toes. Moving into our feet, and try to have that balanced awareness, the same awareness, left foot, right foot. As the mist moves into the feet and up into the ankles, into the shins and the calves, both legs, equal awareness, into the knees, into the upper legs and the thighs, into our hips, our sitting bones, filling our pelvic region. Moving into our lower abdomen and all the internal organs, bringing ease where there may be dis-ease. This healing energy moves into the upper abdomen and into all the internal organs, bringing ease where there may be dis-ease. And moving into the chest, the heart, the lungs, into the emotional heart. We draw this mist up the back and the spine, moving up through all the muscles, lower back, middle back, upper back, up into the shoulders. Inviting the mist now into the fingers of both hands. Have that balanced awareness as the mist moves into the hands. You may feel a tingling in the palms of your hands. The mist moving into your wrists, the forearms, elbows, upper arms, and again into the shoulders. We feel like a weight's been lifted from our shoulders. We feel a lightness of being. The mist moves into the neck and the throat, relaxing, into the jaw, left jaw, right jaw, lips, teeth, and tongue, cheeks, nose, eyelids, eyeballs, ears, eardrums, washing away all worries from the forehead, entering into the head, the brain cells, the thoughts, and the spaces between the thoughts. The spaces between the thoughts, filled with this luminous mist. Our whole body feels illumined, shining, as if we have control of a dimmer switch. Let's increase the brightness of our light. Let's increase the brightness some more and more. Double the brightness. Double it again. Let your inner light shine outward in all directions. And let your light shine inward, chasing away all of your inner shadows. Let your light shine inward, chasing away all those inner shadows. No place for your shadows to hide. With your mind on the dimmer switch, decrease the brightness of your light back down to its original soft glow, and simply sit in stillness with awareness for a few moments, enjoying the afterglow of this body of light meditation. Just enjoy the afterglow. Enjoy. Just be still. We'll sit quietly for about a minute, just allowing the energies to permeate our whole being. All right. Nice, slow, deep inhalation, gently tensing your whole body. Exhaling and relaxing. Inhaling again, bit of a stretch of the arms and the legs. Exhaling and relaxing. So I can see all the people looking back at me awake. So as far as I know, you didn't fall asleep. Those of you off camera, I have no idea. The practice can help us fall asleep. So it might be a good, never used it myself as a sleep technique, but it could be. Any questions on that? Again, this has been a favorite at Wellspring, and a favorite for beginners as well, especially just learning. Everyone good? Okay, and some of you will go back into your memories of doing your own recording, doing your own personalized version of this, and it might be time for you to go back and revisit what you've done, and perhaps even practice some more, especially if you're going to be teaching. And getting familiar with your voice once again, and the pacing of your voice, all the things that go along with being a teacher. Okay. Awake, happy, and soaking up the LA light, Los Angeles light. So you're a California girl once again?
Temp for another week, and then I move back permanently October 29.
Ah, okay. Yeah, moved up into, was it Washington?
Yes.
Yeah, and going back to Southern California.
Yes, sir. I love light more than I love rain.
All right. We're going to now do a traditional meditation. Well, traditional in my programming, and it's also traditional Buddhist meditation, mindfulness, and it's my take on mindfulness. So the beginning portion of what we're going to do is what I often do in classes with beginners. And actually, in the lesson section, I thought I was moving over an audio recording of a mindfulness practice, but what I actually clicked on to put into the lesson section was a 90-minute class. So you actually have the benefit of a 90-minute class teaching beginners Buddhism, the beginning aspects of Buddhism, and mindfulness. And it includes a mindfulness practice. So if you have time, it's there. So enjoy that. You get some more material there. So we're going to do the basic awareness process of turning our awareness inward on ourselves, paying attention to begin with to the sensations of the body, and then we'll pay attention to our emotions, pay attention to our thoughts, sort of directing the spotlight of our mind, the spotlight of our awareness on different aspects of ourselves. And then we'll try to look at the big picture as best as we can, what's influencing, open ourselves up to more of a spatial awareness. And that's where in a beginning class, I might have people just sit in that awareness for a few minutes and then conclude. But we're going to go through that staged process, guided process, and then sit for several minutes, just in a nice still meditation as a group. Now, sometimes, depending on the beginning group, I'll actually have them meditate for 5 or 10 minutes. But it depends on the group and how restless I think they are, and or what they might need. So I always have to gauge the group. So this is our final practice, which will be part guided and part just meditating together in our Zoom room. Okay. So let's get comfortable. We've done our breathing. We've done a nice guided relaxation practice, and we should be well prepped for a meditation. Now, let's do one thing, and something we often do in our classes. Let's inhale deeply, shrugging the shoulders up, rolling them back with the out breath. Just helps to take the tension out of the back. Inhaling, shrugging up, rolling back with the out breath. And one more time for good measure, breathing in deeply, shrugging up, rolling back. So if you don't have time for any kind of pranayama practice, breathing practice, do that. Just the three breaths with the rolling of the shoulders. Okay, close your eyes and we'll begin our practice by paying attention to our breathing. You don't need to pay attention to your breathing throughout the practice, but we'll start with breath awareness, just being aware of the in-breath, being aware of the out-breath. Perhaps paying attention to the breath as the breath flows across the rims of the nostrils, in and out. This is a nice practice to do just by itself, just sitting in total awareness of your normal breathing, just watching yourself breathe. But we're going to direct the spotlight of our awareness onto different aspects of ourselves. And we're going to begin by paying attention to the sensations arising from the physical body. So, what is your body doing right now? How is it doing? What's it communicating to you? Right away, you may be aware of areas where there might be some pain or discomfort in your body. You may have an awareness of your clothing in contact with your skin, areas of your body that feel cool, other areas that feel warm. Buddhists love to start their meditations in this way. Helps us to be present, be here now, be in the body. In deep meditation, we move out of awareness of the body, but we start with the body. Simply be aware of the sensations arising from your body. And can you have a balanced awareness, an awareness that's balanced throughout the whole body? Being aware of the whole body at the same time and the sensations arising from the body. Let's move our awareness now, the spotlight of our awareness, to our emotional heart. And let's ask ourselves, how do I feel right now? So we can be honest with ourselves. We're only responding to ourselves. What's going on now in my emotional heart? What are the emotions at play here? The positive emotions, perhaps negative emotions, the light emotions, the heavy emotions. What's the texture of my emotions right now? The texture. Let the boundaries of yourself dissolve. Just be more aware of the space surrounding the body. And just let the emotions ventilate, let them clear. Let the negative emotions go, let any positive emotion expand into the space surrounding the body. Turn the spotlight of your awareness now to your mind, your thoughts. Watch your thoughts as if you're watching a parade of thoughts go by, or a flock of birds fly by, or leaves floating down a stream. Just watch them go, watch them flow. Don't engage in them. Don't be distracted by them. Don't chase after them. Just watch. As we've done so many times, try to sit back in your cocoon of stillness, sit on your inner park bench and just watch. Watch the thoughts, identifying thoughts that are of the past, memories, letting them go, identifying thoughts of the future, concerns, worries, just let them go and just be in the present moment. As we're sitting on our inner park bench, just try to see the big picture. See the interplay between the physical sensations, the emotions, and the thoughts. What's dominant, affecting the others. Underlying the physical sensations and the emotions and the thoughts is your life force energy. Observe your life force energy, your vibration, your vitality level. How much energy do you have right now? Don't judge, just observe. On a scale of 0 to 10, how much energy do you have? How much awareness, how much calm clarity do you have? And be aware of the space surrounding the body. Whatever arises, just watch it arise and watch it go. What the Buddha taught us 2,500 years ago was put your stuff, whatever arises, put it into a wheelbarrow. When the wheelbarrow is full, willingly wheel the wheelbarrow to the cliffside and then willingly dump your stuff over the cliff. See it fall down into the ocean, see the tide take it away and say goodbye. You have more stuff. Fill the wheelbarrow again. Willingly take it to the cliff and dump it. Say goodbye. A more modern psychotherapeutic tool would be putting our stuff into a helium balloon and then willingly releasing the string and watching it float away, saying goodbye. Now, for the next several minutes, just be in your cocoon of stillness, be the observer, and watch the waves of your arisings, the waves of physical sensations, the waves of emotions, the waves of thoughts. Watch them arise, let them go. There'll be moments of stillness and clarity, then another wave will come up. Just stay, observe, watch, release, let go. Just be in the moment. Enjoy. We'll meditate quietly together for the next several minutes. And begin to bring your awareness back. Just feel a wave of meditative awareness washing over your whole being. The vibrations of your meditation, the benefits of your meditation, whether you are aware of all the benefits or not, like a wave washing over your thoughts, blending and merging with your thoughts, with your emotions, with your life force energy, with your senses, with the cells of your body from the top of your head all the way down to your toes. Become more aware of the weight of your body, your meditation seat, the floor beneath you, supporting you. Become more aware of your feet, wiggle your toes. Become more aware of your hands, wiggle your fingers. Take a nice, slow, deep inhalation. Gently tense the whole body. Exhale and relax. Inhale again, bit of a stretch to the arms and the legs. Exhaling, relaxing. And when you open your eyes after meditation, it's always helpful to open them slowly, gazing softly, allowing your inner awareness to blend and merge with your awareness of the external. All right. How's everyone doing? Okay. We're going to be doing more of this, more breathing practices, guided relaxations, guided meditations, meditations where I'll say, we'll do this, ready, set, go, and we'll practice on our own without me talking. So a mixed bag of things, but a lot of it will be familiar to many of you because they are part of the basic programming for the MTT program, Meditation Teacher Training Program, but there'll be new stuff as well. Now, I just don't feel like getting into all the meditation tips right now. I don't feel like shifting my gears that much right now. A lot of you are familiar with them anyway, but please go to the tip the handout, just to show it to you here quickly. So it's in the lesson section, and just read it over. Just become familiar with it once again. Giving yourself permission, consistent time, be regular with your practice, choose a sacred space. Here, there's another script for the body of light meditation. I believe it's the same one that I've given you as a separate handout, but here it is in this handout. So you get it twice. Just remember to breathe deeply, beforehand. Remember to breathe during your practice. Don't meditate on a full stomach. Make sure you have proper posture. And we're going to talk more about yearning, the inner calling out, becoming like a magnet for spiritual energy. So we'll get into more of that. So please read this over. And next week we'll look at, I'll answer any questions you might have of those. So it'll be a refresher, some common sense tips. But I'll be introducing more and more tips to you as refreshers, and perhaps some tips that you haven't thought about as meditation tips. Any questions, observations? We're almost at time. Or everyone just feeling mellow? No question. Oh, thumbs up. I like that. Okay, there are some folks watching this as a recording. Just got an email from someone else who wants to join us. Didn't realize we were starting tonight. Getting the old gang back. These are all familiar faces. So I know the schedule, everyone's schedule is busy, especially this time of year. So I know, some have already told me there'll be some missed sessions, but that's the advantage of having recordings. You can watch the class, but still, it's nice being part of the live class. Those who have done the live classes and done recordings, it's not quite the same. So be live if you can. All right, and glad to have you back, Jamie. Jamie and I were chatting the other day. And nice to have some male energy. I don't mind the female energy at all. Well, used to all the female energy. It's nice to have a little more male energy in our sessions.
Technically, Tony, though, we, up to about 11 weeks of gestation, we're all double X's. So we're all sisters, aren't we?
Yeah. Yeah. And you meditate long enough, you got a lot of divine feminine energy in you anyway.
Exactly.
And, we're just emanating that energy, that Shakti. That's what it's all about. All right, then. So we'll bring today's session to a close pretty well on time. And look forward to seeing you next week. I'll be trying to get the pre-class letter out. If there's a handout, getting that to you. And there will be a series of handouts, but I'll be putting a lot of extras into the lesson section. So please take advantage of those. And it's a learning process, relearning and re-education. Plus, we have a chance to be together in the way that we can. And of course, for some of you, I'll actually see you in person on Sunday for the silent retreat. Stephanie, I'll actually see you and in person. What a shock. Wonder if I'll recognize you. Anyway, I look forward to being with everyone in the weeks coming up. Take care. Have a great night. Namaste. Jai, as we say in California. Anande Raho. It's what Guruji often says. Anande Raho. May you live in divine joy forever. That's what we're trying to find, that divine joy, and then live in it forever. Take care, everyone. Good night.